Basically, we are trying to factor 6x squared plus 17x plus 10, right? So we take the 6 and the 10 and we multiply them together. 6 times 10, that gives you 60.
60, yeah.
Right? So 6 times 10, that gives you 60. The next step is you want two numbers whose product is 60 and sum is 17. Right? So now we can break down 60. 60 is 6 and 10. 60 is also 5 and 12, right? Now 6 plus 10 gives me 16, so I'm not going to deal with it.
Yeah.
I want 5 plus 12, that's 17.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to rewrite this whole operation. So this is 6x squared plus 17x plus 10, right? I'm going to rewrite it. We're using my digits here, right? So it's going to be 6x squared plus 12x, right? Plus 5x plus 10. Right? Now I'm going to use the factor by grouping.
Wait, I have a question. Why it come back to 6 squares again?
I'm not touching this yet. I just split it so I can do my factorization using the grouping, right?
Okay.
So I'm going to take these two together, and I'm going to take these two together, right? What's the common factor between 6x squared and 12x? 6x, right? If I pull out a 6x, out of this, I'm left with 2x, right? Now I'm left with x, I'm sorry. 6x out of there is x, right? Plus 2, right? And if I pull out a 5 out of here, I'm left with x plus 2. Now you see we have the common factor, the same thing. X plus 2 and x plus 2. So therefore, this becomes x plus 2 times 6x plus 5, and you're done.
Oh, wow.
All right?
Yeah.
So use the grouping. I don't like the guess and check because the guess and check is a lot of work.
Hard, yeah.
You just keep trying. You want to have a practical way of doing it. So you split the two and then find the common factor by grouping.
Okay.
Okay? All right. Our next step is we're trying to factor 6x squared minus 54. Now this is this has like two expressions in there, two terms, right? 6x squared and 54. Now this is probably we're gonna use the what we call the difference of two squares, right? Now both numbers have to be perfect squares. Perfect square is like 9 is a perfect square because 3 times 3 is 9. 16 is a perfect square. But when I look at this expression, I don't have a perfect square, but I do have 6 and I do have 54, and I know that 6 goes into 6 and 6 goes into 54. So I'm gonna pull out the 6 as a factor, right? I'm going to be left with x squared minus what? 9.
Okay.
Because 6 times 9 is 54, right? And then now I have my perfect square because I have x squared minus 9, right? Because 9 is a perfect square and x squared is a perfect square. And I know that a squared, right, minus b squared is a minus b, right?
Yeah.
And then a plus b, that's an identity.
Okay.
That's what we're going to use here.
Okay.
Right? So it's going to be 6. We keep our 6 there. We got our two expressions. X
minus 3.
And then x
plus 3.
All right? So the key here was to recognize that 6 goes into 6 and 54 at the same time. Factor out the common factor. And then you get your identity. And then you use the difference of two perfect squares.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we're trying to find the domain of this function, right? It's a rational function, so we have to look at the denominator. Any rational function cannot have a denominator equal to what? 0. Because you don't have a number over 0 is undefined. So we don't want 0 to be in the denominator. So therefore, the domain is we don't want this expression to be equal to 0, right? And we're going to solve for x. So then we're doing factoring. So therefore, I'm going to pull out x, right? X plus 8 not equal to 0. All right? And I'm going to go here and finish it. So it's going to be x not equal to 0. You split them, right? Or x plus 8 not equal to 0. So therefore, x not equal to negative 8. Right? So my denominator will be every number except negative 8 and what? 0. Which is going to be my domain. I don't want...
So your domain is going to be negative 8?
No, it's not. No, it's not negative 8 and 0. It's all real numbers except 0 and negative. This is how you write it. All real numbers, right? Except 0 and negative 8. Or you could just go R minus 0 and 8. This is how you can write it if you want. But if you can just say all real numbers except 0 and -8. Everything but 0 and -8.
So what about the one on the top?
You're not worried about the numerator, just the denominator.
Okay.
For the domain of a rational function.
Okay.
All right? Okay.
That's it?
Yep. So the next thing is we're trying to solve this equation. So now we are in doing factoring, right? This is what we're doing. So therefore, I'm going to look at this. X minus 2, x squared minus 4, and then x plus 2, right? Now, I recognize something here. This is the difference of two squares. So I'm going to rewrite this operation as 1 over x minus 2 minus 3x, and then x plus 2, x minus 2 equals to 2x plus 2, right? Now, I know one thing. I want to find my lowest common denominator, right?
Yeah.
And the lowest common denominator is going to be this whole thing here. So then to make this easier, we're going to multiply every single entry by this lowest common denominator.
Okay, so you're going to multiply by this,
that,
this,
and then that. And then we're going to simplify it, right?
Okay.
So it's going to be x plus 2, x minus 2, 1 over x minus 2, minus x plus 2, x minus 2, times 3x, right, over x plus 2.
Where's that 3x?
X minus from here.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I keep it there. Yeah, the top, right? And then we do the same thing here. And you see what's going to happen is going to simplify the whole operation. Cancel this, right?
Yeah.
This goes away, and then this goes away, right?
So we have left.
You're left with x plus 2, right?
We got 1 here.
Yeah, times 1. So it's just 1. It's the same thing, right? Any times a 1. Minus 3x, right? Equals to 2, right? Times x minus 2. Okay? And then the rest is just a piece of cake. You can go ahead and just combine like terms.
Okay, so combine like 10, multiply this one, and then add them together.
Add them together. Okay, I'll let you finish that.
Okay,
that's good. Yeah. Hello, this is Taib, and actually you saw me working on some factoring problem earlier. And a lot of the things that I teach in mathematics, I've actually thought by using this book. It's called the Basic Fast Track, and this is the 2nd edition. Now, 2 months ago, I worked with like 9 students for like a week and a half, and we actually went and covered the entire pre-algebra / elementary algebra topics. We did rounding numbers, multiplication, notations, factoring, a whole lot of stuff. It was crammed into a week and a half, actually 2 weeks, to be more precise, and I've used this book. I mean, it's very concise and it goes straight to the point. You're not going to waste your time with lengthy stuff that you don't need to know. And I'm a math tutor / I got my degree in math as well. So I know what I'm talking about. I'm not just going to give you something that's not practical. You know, a lot of time you hear people talk about doing things a certain way, and there's like multiple ways of solving a problem. And for me, it's like this. Whichever work for the students is what I want to stick to. And this book here gives you a lot of options. And I've actually used it with my student, like I said, and it was really good. Like, they came out of the lectures really happy and ready to like tackle any topic. So I'll show you like a couple of things here. I mean, it's so concise. And let me show you the back of the book, and you can kind of read this yourself if you want, right? So the goal here is to save you time and money by placing you in the highest level course. Because a lot of time you go to like a college and they make you take all these like elementary math classes, and you're wasting money and you're wasting time. So with this book, it gives you almost like a review when you take the AccuPlacer for some colleges or whatever math test, placement test. You know these things already. So you're not going to test they're not going to place you in like lower level courses, especially if you've been out of college for a while and you want to go back, and then you don't want to waste your time on basic stuff. So this book is definitely, I highly recommend it. I'm just letting you know. I've used it with my students. I've seen the progress, and I like it. I mean, there's many books out there that I've seen in the past, but this one was the best out of all of them. All right? So if you want it, just shoot me an email and I'll show you how to get it. Thanks.